Today you are going to learn how to animate this. In this video I am sharing with you 4 amazing tips to animate a fight scene in Flipaclip. So the first tip is, draw on paper first. Before making any animation I first practice it on paper. Like I had to make a lot of figures for this fight scene animation, so I first practiced by making them on paper. I filled many pages with these little poses. I use this method almost every time. Whenever I want to draw a character, I first practice it on paper. Whenever I want to draw some hands, I first practice it on paper. It kinda refreshes my knowledge about anatomy and human figure. And it helped me a lot to make it on Flipaclip later. Second one is, pose-to-pose versus straight ahead. I have used both methods many times, and I personally find out that animating action scenes using straight ahead method gives me better result, rather than pose-to-pose. I am not saying that pose-to-pose is a bad method, it is also a great way of animating, but for the best results, you should animate normal scenes with pose-to-pose method, and action scenes with straight ahead method. As your first I decided to animate using pose-to-pose method, but just after making few frames I realized that it is not working well, because we use pose-to-pose method to avoid our character from shrinking or expanding. But here I am animating it using perspective grid, and in perspective, shape and size of object continues to change in every frame. Therefore it becomes almost useless to draw keyframes first. That's why after few frames I decided to shift to straight ahead method. Third tip is, never animate action scenes on twos. When you draw each and every frame of your animation, then it is called animating on ones. And when you draw half of the frames of your FPS. For example, if you are working on 24 FPS, and you draw only 12 frames, and then you copy each frame twice to complete 24 frames, then it is called animating on twos. So, you should never animate any fast motion on twos. Action scenes animated on twos looks terrible. Fast motions animated on twos looks very jerky and choppy. That's why you should always animate action scenes on ones. As you are watching this video, it means you are interested in animation, and if you also want to pursue animation as a business not as a hobby, then you can listen to a book summary called Creativity Inc. It is available on Cuckoo FM. Cuckoo FM is a made in India leading audio show platform which has over 4,000 audio shows. I am also using it from past some time, and it has really helped me a lot. Through this audiobook I got to know about Edwin Catmull, who is inspired by Walt Disney, and in this book he has taught about the fundamentals which he has invented. This app has 4.5 plus ratings. So, to listen more such motivating stories you can download Cuckoo FM. And first 250 people, to use my coupon code, GARB50, will get extra 50% discount. That is, its yearly subscription is already only $399, and people using my code will get it for just $199. Click on the first link in the description, and dive into interesting audio shows of Cuckoo FM. Fourth tip is, draw loose. Whenever you have to animate a fight scene, or anything which has fast movement, you should always focus on the line of action. Line of action is a line that tells about the overall gesture of body. As we are animating on ones, so each frame will be visible for very less time, that's why your most of the focus should be on the overall pose, instead of the details. As you can see I am drawing everything very loose and scribbly, because I am trying to find the gesture of it. And if you have drawn the overall pose correctly, then small details doesn't matter much. As you can see here, I have not drawn the facial expressions and clothes of this character, my entire focus is on finding the right gesture. For every figure pose the most important thing is line of action. Here is one more thing that, I am animating on a perspective. All the fight animations that I have made earlier, are made on flat surface, there is no perspective used in these animations. Perspectives can be of many types like, 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective. In this animation I am using 1-point perspective. This was the very first time when I used perspective to make animation. Perspective simple means, objects farther from us will appear smaller than the objects closer to us. As you can see when this guy is very far from us, he looks very tiny like a small star. And as he comes closer to us, he starts to look more bigger, and then he takes out his fists and, that comes really close to us, that it covers the whole frame. Now just have a look at it, that how in this frame his entire body is just the size of a small dot, and after some frames just his fist becomes this big, that it covers the whole frame. This showed that how perspective works. So, this was that how you can make a fight scene in Flipaclip. If you have any doubt related to this, feel free to ask it in the comment box, and also don't forget to download the Cuckoo FM app.